Right, important day of the year now here in the school garden. It's the day when we move the compost bin. That green kind of Dalek there cooks all our garden waste at very high temperatures, and the patch of ground underneath that there compost bin will probably be the most fertile bit of our garden. Rather than leaving it unused, we like to move that compost bin around about once every year so that we can get to the nice rich soil underneath. And this year, like previous years, we're going to plant a pumpkin in that fertile soil. But before we do that, we've got to lift that cone-shaped compost bin from there to here. The patch of ground underneath that there compost bin will probably be the most fertile bit of our garden. Rather than leaving it unused, we like to move that compost bin around about once every year so that we can get to the nice rich soil underneath. And this year, like previous years, we're going to plant a pumpkin in that fertile soil. But before we do that, we've got to lift that cone-shaped compost bin from there to here. A bit of sloping ground. Trying to find a patch of ground that we could use and kind of leave unused for a year, but use it for our compost bin. So I've had to dig out along the back there so that we can try and get this bin more or less level. Rarely does it work first time round, so best thing to do now is to see if we can lift this bad boy off of here. So here we are. Here's our compost bin. You can see that the fresh stuff is at the top, but as we go down, it doesn't take long to discover the stuff that's been cooking in this heat for a month or two, and right down the bottom it's been there for a year or two. You never know what you're going to find when you lift the top off a compost bin. I famously lifted the top off another compost bin in the school a few years back and found two grass snakes having some fun. They're basking in the heat. Slow worms, we've also found lots of insects, and yeah, so underground wildlife love the heat and the nutrients that are within this pile of compost. So let's see if we can don't forget sound effects and be ready for any scurrying wildlife. Well, I see no wildlife, but you can see what's happened here. There's the stuff from probably this time last year, which was the fresh stuff at the top of the old compost bin. We chucked into the bottom last year, and that's rotted down to this nice rich black compost. That's going to be what we plant our pumpkin in. And as I moved some soil around there, I saw some ants and some other insects scurrying around. Sorry guys to disturb your little home. Yeah, that's too big really for the compost bin, that bit of wood. Oh, look at those guys in there, and if you can see them, there's lots of ants and things scurrying around. I feel temporarily guilty for disturbing their little habitat, but they'll soon re-establish. Oh, look at that, there's some wood lice there as well. What they call granny greys here in South Wales. There he is. Hey mate. So now the big question is, will this fit in my little template? Whoa, look at that. Well, that's a first for me. I must have learned something over the years. So that's sitting in there nice and snug, and we'll put some soil in around the rim there just to weight that down. But the next step is to transfer the green waste from here into that bin, and I'm going to get a fork to help me do that, so we can get it transferred nice and quickly. So let's have a go. There we go, we've got our fork in. Oh, sound effects. And into the bin. Oh, banana skins there, kindly donated by Alva, I think. Lots of nutrients, lots of potash apparently in banana skins. Into the bin. So there we are, you can see the stuff that we put in our bin. Thin twigs like this, they'll rot down, that's fine. Bits of newspaper, little bits of cardboard. We sometimes put some kitchen waste. So long as it's green kitchen waste, we don't want to be putting kind of meat and stuff in here. Anything that's kind of naturally biodegradable in the garden. There might be a few eggs, old egg shells and things we put in there, no problem. And it very quickly rots down. So let's get this over into the compost bin. And then we just need to kind of evenly distribute. Now I can see some eggshells in there. Yeah, spread it all around. There you go. Lovely. There you go. Now there's all those wood lice there, and there's a worm just there. Yeah, all signs that wildlife are doing their job. There's another worm just in there. All good stuff. In you go, boys, into your new home. There we go. That's really rich soil. Those sunflowers there will enjoy some of that goodness. The sunflowers there, actually, we use them to provide some shade for the glass house there. So they're going to be quite tall in a few months' time and provide some summer shade for the greenhouse. But here we are. Here's our new compost bin, and that looks like it's half full at the moment, doesn't it? But actually, you'd be amazed how quickly that will condense down and cook down with the heat, and then we can cram in lots of green waste, weeds, dead plants, bits of twig, bits of newspaper, kitchen waste, anything really biodegradable and green. Originally we'll put in there, and that'll be ready for swapping around, and there'll be a nice fertile patch of ground underneath there next year, which our palm tree and our rhubarb there and our other little rhubarb there will benefit from. So all that remains to be done now is to in this lovely rich soil. If you've seen any of my other videos, you might have seen the one recently about planting pumpkins. I like to create a hollow there into which we can put, hello Mr. Worm, sorry to disturb you, into which we can put our pumpkin. And I'm just going to put some bagged compost there, just to give him a really good start and break him in gently, so that he doesn't kind of go feet first into that very rich compost and get scorched or anything like that. There we are. Now where's my pumpkin? So we should get some big pumpkins off there, and they're just going to love this this rich soil, and they'll run everywhere. They'll run down the bank there, they'll run through the sunflower patch, they'll run everywhere, they'll take over, and we should get some nice pumpkins off there. So that's how we convert green waste, cook it up in the kind of the garden oven there, the compost bin, and end up with lovely rich piles of compost and rich soil underneath, into which those pumpkins can thrive. That's all there is to it. Good guide, good guide. Have a look at the old scoreboard.